Yes.
Ma'am, what's the difference between saprotrophs and scavengers? Because they both feed on dead or decaying matter. So what's the difference?
See, basically, no, vultures and crows, which are scavengers, when it is whole, for example, a dead dog is lying, you know, the vulture will still be able to, with its beak, no, it can prick the meat and the flesh and eat it in pieces. The crow will eat, pieces of those flesh, a little bit of those veins, nerves, prick and eat. But in case of saprotroph, it cannot prick and eat like that because an earthworm is so small, so that dead dog has to really decompose and become more or less like soil. Only then the earthworm will be able to eat it. It needs a little more simpler form of food to eat.
Can scavengers eat anything like that is dead?
Yes, anything that is dead and decayed,
Is
mainly
it that
flesh,
like they are also
mainly
omnivores,
flesh.
right?
No. See, there is one difference. Scavengers will eat mainly dead and decayed. The catch here is flesh. That means dead and decayed animals. But saprotrophs, they feed on dead organic matter. This organic matter could be of a plant, could be of a flesh, could be animal, whatever. But sorry, I did not get your point.
No. If like the skin or something, like suppose there is a dead animal or something, after it gets decomposed totally, the worms still have it, right?
Yeah, correct.
So, so then how is it organic?
Organic is, the meaning of organic is that it has to be almost close to soil, almost soil like.
Okay, ma'am.
Only organic here means, very simplified. It cannot have big chunks, big pieces like the vulture and the crow. It has to be like soil, little powdery, little soft, and little semi-liquid type for it to have. It has to be in a maybe very simpler form for it to have. Yes.
Ma'am, and organic means that it should also have carbon compounds, right? Because we learned in chemistry. Inorganic means
Correct.
anything which doesn't have carbon.
Correct.
Like our bones are inorganic, and the decomposers and the scavengers don't eat us.
Correct.
I mean the bones.
Most of the organic matter, whether be it plants or be it animals, most of the organic matter will have carbon in it. Right? Most of the organic.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Ma'am, so scavengers, they feed on suppose the dead animal, so they eat after the animal dies, or they themselves kill the animal and eat.
No, after the animals died. For example, you must have seen a vulture is eating a dead tiger. So vulture cannot kill a tiger. Somebody must have killed the tiger, and then once the tiger is dead, only then the vulture will eat. Also, you will be surprised to know vulture is smaller than an elephant. For example, something must have attacked, or maybe an elephant grew very old and then died almost in a forest. So vulture will get the smell from somewhere, and the vulture will eat the dead elephant.
Ma'am, are they scavengers or decomposers?
No, hyenas, I think so. They are flesh eaters. They are carnivores. Hyenas are like tigers and leopards. They are carnivores.
Ma'am, but my biology teacher told that hyenas are scavengers.
They too eat dead matters, dead and decomposed matters.
Yeah.
Could be. I need to check then.
Ma'am?
Yeah, tell me.
Ma'am, even I learned that the jackal and hyena are scavengers, but I saw that they have sharp teeth like lions and tigers. So, if in our book also is given that they are scavengers, so
Correct.
they
Correct.
could themselves with the sharp teeth kill the animal, right? So, why do they need to feed on dead or decaying matter?
See, I'll just tell you. Yeah, you're right.
Ma'am?
Hyenas are scavengers. Okay, one by one. I'll just answer one by one. Then next you can answer. Basically, the thing with hyenas is that hyenas mainly they stay in the forest, right? Now, what happens is that their size is such that it is, the animals that are there are much more wilder than them. If it is smaller than them, then they can kind of, or maybe, if the animal is weak, then it can attack and kill it. But not always is it possible because it stays in the wild. So in case it finds a dead matter, then also it will thrive on it. So it has both the options. Omnivorous means plants and animals. Hyena will not have plant. Hyena can be a carnivorous and hyena can be a scavenger, but mainly it is a scavenger.
Okay, ma'am.
Right? That is, the Great Indian Bustard is basically a bird. And I think so, I do not know whether it is a scavenger or not. I just need to find out. It is quite an endangered species.
It is omnivores.
It is an omnivore. Okay. So it must be having fishes as well as it must be having certain seeds. So it is omnivores. Okay. All right. So now going to the next portion. So as I said, nutrition is a little complex in animals, right? Where we will be having ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and then egestion. These are the 5 stages of holozoic form of holozoic form of nutrition. I'm sure all of you are aware what is ingestion. What is the meaning of ingestion?
I'm taking in of food.
Letting the food inside. The beginning of the digestive system is called the ingestion, the intake of food, right? The correct sentence would be the intake of food is called ingestion. Please get the spelling right here. It's ingestion, right? It's not injection. Inject means inject, to push something, right? Here it is ingestion. Digestion is always a part of digestive system. Digestion, ingestion. Correct? Egestion. Egestion means to exit from the body. Okay. Now next comes digestion. I'm sure, since class 4, all of you must have studied what is digestion basically. What happens in digestion? Okay. Vatsala, do you want to share? What is digestion?
Okay.
Yeah, let Vatsala try, and after that maybe. Vatsala, do you want to give it a try?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so tell me what is digestion?
Okay, so digestion is the breakdown of like food inside our body.
Not only inside our body, it is basically into the digestive tract.
Yeah.
Correct.
So it's a food molecule.
It is basically the breakdown of complex food into simpler food. Right?
Yeah.
That is digestion. The process of breaking down of complex component of food into simpler substances is called digestion. Correct? So the process of digestion is different in human being, is different. It's different in human beings, different in grass eating animals like cows. It's different in amoeba, right? So all this digestion, the process of digestion is different in different animals. Does anybody remember or would anybody like to share how is digestion different in grass eating animals, especially cow?
Ma'am, so
Correct.
ma'am, what they do is the food they eat the food, they chew it, they take it to the reticulum, and then they bring it back to their mouth and chew it, and then again it goes back to their stomach.
Very good, excellent. That is
And they
exactly
bring
the
it back
process.
to their mouth when they're sitting.
Yes, when they are sitting, most of the time we see after the
And 4 chambers.
Yeah, they have 4 chambers exactly, and most of
Yes,
the time.
ma'am. And 4 heart.
4 chambers. Correct.
Yes, ma'am. There are 4 chambers.
Yeah,
Yes,
there are
ma'am.
4 chambers. Okay, so that is digestion. So basically, all the compound or the complex material, like as I gave you the example of apple, in mouth, digestion starts from the mouth. So what happens in the mouth? With the help of saliva, and the teeth, and the tongue, it is broken up into smaller pieces. Remember, it is pieces.
Or bolus.
Or bolus, correct. So each bolus is being rolled by the tongue and then pushed into the esophagus.
Ma'am, and the starch is converted into maltose also.
Maltose.
Ma'am, and esophagus, the other name for esophagus is food pipe. The food pipe of the human.
Correct. So now, great. All right. So after digestion comes assimilation. What is assimilation? In assimilation,
Ma'am, can I ask a question?
Yeah, please do.
Ma'am, another name for digestive tract is alimentary canal, right?
Correct.
Okay,
You're
ma'am.
right. Okay. So assimilation is basically when the absorbed food, it is converted to proteins, vitamins, minerals, that is all broken down and then all assimilated. It's all assimilated and then sent to the definite organs for absorption. Correct. That is assimilation. This is a very systematic process. What happens is that, for example, the apple that you eat or maybe the chicken that you eat, in our mouth, the chicken is broken up into smaller pieces. A bolus is prepared. Then the bolus is pushed like a ball and is sent into the esophagus. Esophagus sends it, connects it to the stomach. What happens in the stomach? The stomach has hydrochloric acid. What hydrochloric acid does? It breaks down the chicken pieces further into little more smaller pieces, which is also known as the chyme. C-H-Y-M-E. Correct? You must have all read about chyme.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so after that, the chyme, it becomes a little simpler, it becomes a little slippery for it to pass on to the small intestine. What happens in the small intestine? In the small intestine, there are many different kinds of juices which comes. There's bile from the liver which comes, there's pancreatic juice from the pancreas coming. So all these juices...
Bile juice is secreted by the liver, it gets in the pancreas, no, ma'am?
Sorry?
Ma'am, the bile juice that is secreted by the liver, ma'am, it is stored by the pancreas, right? In the gallbladder.
It is in the gallbladder.
Okay.
Pancreas has a different set of enzyme called the pancreatic juice. Yeah. So, so after that, in the small intestine, all the little pieces, all the chyme, that was there, is all now systematically broken down. For example, do you have any idea what is protein broken down into?
Ma'am, amino acids.
Very good. What is fat broken up into?
Ma'am, fat is all. It is fatty acids.
Fatty acids or lipids? Fatty acids or lipids?
Yes.
What are carbohydrates?
Sugar is sucrose. No.
Sugars are again broken down into sucrose, fructose, whatever, the simplest form. Let's keep it sucrose as the simplest form.
One minute.
Ma'am, fats are broken down into glycerol also, right?
Glycerols also, correct. That's the most simplest form, correct.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So, and of course, we have the vitamins, which are again broken down. So, there are different sets of enzymes.
Ma'am, can you hear me now?
Yeah, better.
Yeah. Ma'am, so my teacher told that there was some pancreatic juices named trypsin, eripsin, and somewhat like that. So pepsin, trypsin, and eripsin. Pepsin, trypsin, and eripsin.
Correct. Yes. These are all kinds of different kinds of juices.
Are we going to learn about the enzymes again?
No, we are not going to learn about enzymes today. That will, maybe, it falls a little bit of chemistry, but then again, this, primarily would be covered in biology, but in your higher classes, not now. Okay, so coming back, so once these are broken down into smaller pieces, they are sent to the respective organs. How? The blood. The small intestine, there are, certain, structures. So from there, the blood transports all the amino acids, the glycerol, the sucrose, vitamins, and circulates through the entire body and helps reach the respective nutrient to the respective organs. For example, our eyes would need a lot of vitamin A. Correct? So the blood would carry vitamin A to the eyes. Our brain would need certain, you know, certain maybe, vitamins, certain fatty acids. So the blood will take it. So this is, an assimilation is a very systematic process, right? Where absorption and assimilation happens. Now, after all this happens, what happens? The undigested food or the waste matter, all these things are taken out of the body. They are egested out of the body. That is known as the fecus, right? The feces. The feces, it is through the rectum and then the anus. It is taken out of the body from, again, depending on the amount of roughage that we eat, the amount of water that we drink, it is egested out. It is egested. It is egested out of the body. Correct? So this was the entire process of ingestion, digestion, assimilation and egestion. Correct? Now, do you know, during warm months, a grizzly bear eats around 40 kg of food each day, gaining over 1 kg of body weight a day. Why does this happen? Can anybody
Ma'am, to
answer?
store all the fats because in the winter there are no much food.
Exactly. And
And it also hibernates, right?
it hibernates during the winter months, and it also requires a thick layer of fat deposit to keep itself warm during the winter months. Very good. Okay. Now, next we go to different ways of taking food.
Warm days after gaining that much weight every day, won't the bear be sick? I know it's grown to that, but of course it won't be feeling well, right?
Yeah, but then again, that is how nature has prepared the bear. It doesn't have to move much. Have you seen how slowly a bear walks? How comfortably and lazily it
Yes, ma'am.
sits? So, God has prepared every animal differently. That is how nature has prepared bear. Right? So it is a way to adapt itself. This is called the survival of the fittest. Maybe the bears which do not eat during the warm months, they die during the winter months. But smart bears eat during the warm months to help them survive during the winter months, and then again they get to see the next year. So this
So,
is
ma'am,
the
if they
this is the
lose
art.
weight in the winter months,
Yes, they will lose because they do not get much to eat during the winter months.
and they again gain, so that's
Yeah.
the process.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, adipose tissue is basically the fat deposit just below our skin. That is called adipose tissue, Karthik. Okay, yeah, it acts as a cushion.
Okay, ma'am.
When we get hurt, when we fall down, it's not that bad because the fat acts as a cushion to our body and it protects us. Okay.